Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Mel Hambelton. It's a beautiful Saturday morning out there, Josh.
It is.
I think it's 70.
It's going to be.
I don't see no sun out there.
Well, it's above the clouds.
Well, is it really? I didn't know that. It's there still, though. Huh?
Yeah.
The clouds come, the sun still stays there?
Confirmed.
Okay, confirmed. All right. Hey, it's a beautiful Saturday. 316-462-3673. It's a call-in show. Get a great price back for each and every caller, and I don't care what you want to talk about today. It don't matter. We'll come up with some wild and crazy. I was about ready to say the OS word, but probably wild and crazy stuff here this morning. We always shoot off the cut, huh?
Yeah, stuff.
Oh, yeah, stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that number is the front desk of the dealership. Tell the girls you want to get past into the podcast, and hopefully Josh and I are paying attention to the phone. We'll get you in time. Sometimes we'll let you sit there and hang on the line for a while because we got some other BS going on. We don't pay attention. So
collect your thoughts.
Collect your thoughts and get ready for the time of your life for the call-in show at Mel Hambelton. Okay, so Josh, as always, it's a $205 package over that because we don't know what that multi-point inspection can ever be worth. As always, what's in that package for each and every caller, not chat line, caller.
So we're going to send it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here. While we're performing that, we're going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on the vehicle. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then 44K for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So,
all right, let's get the phones ringing, and we'll get your calls going and stuff to answer any of your questions and anything in the automobile world, tires, brakes, batteries, anything going off your car, something you don't know, something you don't understand, new products. Love to hear from anything you want to talk about so we can have a conversation and help you understand something better in the automobile world for all the years we got in this business. Isn't it crazy how many years we got in this?
It's crazy. It is very crazy. I don't know. The other day I was talking with somebody, giving one of the guys or a applicant a tour of the facility and stuff like that. And just, talking about history of the dealership and all the different things going on. And, when you're in the fire, right, it seems like, we did that, that was a yesterday project and that was a yesterday project. And then you think back and it's like, yeah, that wasn't yesterday.
No, at least I'll be talking about different things that we've done here at the store and stuff. Well, about 5-6 years ago. Look it up, it's 10 years ago.
Yep.
Time flies. You're having fun from that part too. So what new and exciting? What happened in the shop this week, Josh? You got any wild pictures to put up today?
Today, I wanted to talk specifically about fuel economy.
Okay,
that was going to be my topic of the day for sure. As I don't know, however you feel one way or the other about things that are going on politically on that side of things, but it certainly has an impact on fuel cost, right, to a consumer, and you see it at the pump. I mean, diesel the other day, it was over $5 a gallon for a gallon of diesel, and had the opportunity a couple of about a month ago, went to Hawaii and was seeing fuel prices over there. I think diesel was around $6-7 a gallon, and
that's what I think about. They gotta ship that over there.
Yeah, and then unleaded gas. I mean, it was mid fives. For a gallon.
They ain't got very far to go though.
That's you can go just about anywhere in a 60-mile range. You can just about hit any spot from that side of it. But even over here, and I think back years ago, being in this industry, and I'm sure you can remember different periods throughout history where, fuel economy or fuel prices raised up astronomical. And then everybody, for that temporary time period is, really stresses over fuel economy. But then if fuel's down to, $1 or $2 a gallon, it's not as top of your mind, I guess, from that side of it.
Yeah.
But I think of, again, as we were talking earlier in the show, how much this industry has changed over time, and what maybe years ago you were focused on with fuel economy, but yet today, as a common consumer, I don't know is that people really understand what all even options are out there to help or increase fuel economy.
Well, first thing is your right foot.
Well, that is 100%. And
and then your left foot hitting, or whichever foot you hit that brake. When you hit that brake,
and I think in today's vehicles, that probably has just about more to do with it than absolutely anything. And what amazes me in a situation like that is that I can drive a vehicle a certain way, and then you put me into a hybrid vehicle. I just think years ago they had the Fusion when it came out.
Had the leaves growing on it.
There was a tree that would grow. If you did, it was like freaking playing a video game, right? And you're so focused on your tree growing that you forget about. But
yeah, that was 11 and 12 somewhere in there. Yeah,
I mean, just the way we brake as consumers. Think about pulling up to a stop sign. I mean, I'm on the gas until I'm off the gas, and then I'm on the brake. From that perspective, and we rely so heavily on our brakes.
It's stupid.
Now
because how good they are.
Yeah, because of how efficient they are and how well they work and stuff like that. And so that was my number one. How do you impact fuel economy the most was exactly what you said. You nailed it right on the head with my left foot, my right foot. Now
that's first thing. Yeah.
At the end of the day, for me particularly, put another gallon of gas in it. I'm going to get there. For sure. But that's definitely a huge thing.
Well, it's still amazing me how people do accelerate and how people do brake and all that kind of stuff beside me. I kind of pay attention to that. Is that pull up to a stoplight and then someone is sitting over here in a little four banger or whatever, and I'm in an F-150 or a Super Duty, and I know I can blow their doors off. Next thing you know, they're fucking, thinking, dude, really?
Just they're gone and out the door, right?
Yeah, and so is there really a concern about fuel economy today? I mean, I think it is a little more, like you said, because the price is a little higher now. From that part, but I think if we really paid attention to what we were doing, fuel economy, we could burn a lot less and all that kind of stuff too. But I'm with you too, Jess. I'm wide open to. I know I gotta have to. Heck, the other day Jake was telling me, "Man, you rely harder on brakes." I said, "No, don't you dare talk to me about relying on brakes. Don't you even come close to telling me that."
It's different. So it's different when you're a passenger.
Oh, it is something. How much different it is. I hate riding. I hate riding. I really do. Unless when Nick and I are running around doing stuff, going over to Hutch or doing something from that part, I got to get my laptop out. I don't mind the then part, but if I don't have my laptop,
I'm just sitting there, something else. Yeah.
If I'm just sitting there riding with somebody, man, I can't stand it. Drives me crazy.
Yeah. I understand that completely
from that part. Okay, Delbert, 23.5 daily driving, city highway, driving to Wichita last weekend, got 20.3. But in the way back, I got 26.8 MP. The wind. Oh, yeah, the wind will affect.
Well, especially here in Kansas, well, I mean, obviously he's in Oklahoma too, but going on a road trip,
6.5 miles to gallon better because of that wind.
There's
nothing you can change. There's nothing you could, how better you drove, how easy you drove. There's no way to change that.
No. So the only thing I would say, and again, I'm going to take the stance of put another gallon of gas in it, but in that particular situation, it is absolutely amazing how much more fuel efficient these vehicles are, especially when you talk about the EcoBoost versions or the turbos. When you go from say 75 to 65.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because it takes so much more power to push that.
Okay, so Delbert,
through the
real quick. Okay, yeah, he could have slowed down, but how fast were you going? Don't lie. We're not going to call the cops on you, get you a ticket or anything else like that. But how fast were you driving? Do you drive the same speed there as you did back? Answer that one. Don't lie, Delbert.
Well, and that's where
my mom used to always tell me, you go to the same place for lying as you do stealing. So don't be lying, Delbert. Just tell us exactly the truth. How fast did you drive?
And
I seen a sign. I'm going to change the subject here. See how we get going in deer. I seen a sign that said Kansas speed limit. It said 70 plus 15. Get it? If we go 15 miles an hour, you're just not going to get pulled over.
Where'd you see that at?
Okay. Yeah, but it's thinking about that.
So it's a 9-year fine, 10-year fine deal.
Yeah.
I think anything over 10.
No, I get it, but still, But I can't tell you how many times I should have had a ticket and didn't get it.
Well,
Too,
I've every time I've got stopped for speeding, it was a thank you very much, because I might not have deserved that ticket, but I assure you there was one that I deserved that I didn't get. So
hey, we got a phone call, Josh.
Oh, do we? Okay, here, let's
Kelly. I think it's Kelly. It popped off my screen already. Kelly, get Kelly patched in here real quick and see what's going on. Anyway, yeah, so I've deserved a lot of tickets, but I've got my share of my few tickets too. And yes, I do run a radar detector for everybody. No, Valentine one, it's the best one out there, and everything else from that part. And I have had a couple times get pulled over that because okay, Delbert, that still doesn't say how fast you were going. He says pretty close, usually 7 to 10 mile an hour over the speed limit. Okay, I get that.
It was pretty close there.
I will say most of the time I'm 9 mile an hour over because of the 10 rule.
That we made up.
No, I think a 10 mile an hour becomes a moving violation.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I wonder maybe somebody actually knows that for real. So, hey, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to real. Kelly. Kelly, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Hey, morning, guys. How are you?
Perfect.
Hey, question. So I have a 2022 Ford F-150, and the splash guard cover underneath was coming on, so I just went ahead and took it off.
Hold on, Chuck. What up again?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Would you take off again? I missed that.
The splash guard.
Oh, like an undershield?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
The soggy diapers, people would call them.
Yeah. Okay. I got you now. Okay, I'm following you now.
Do I really need to replace that, or am I good with having it off?
I'm going to tell you, with the aerodynamics and the way we're trying to get fuel economy and stuff like that, I'd put it back on.
Yep.
My opinion.
Back on.
My opinion. Just keep that air from sucking up under the car, everything from that part. How much it will change, I guess it'd be a good test. Go out and drive it for a few miles, or at a certain speed, whatever, and then go put it back on and do the same thing again and see how much it changes.
To me, there's really two reasons why that's there, and you nail on the first one is just aerodynamics, but the other portion of it is the way that these manufacturers design these vehicles. And I was talking with somebody about this the other day. Actually, it wasn't in regards to an undershield, but it was in regards to an engine cover. But the way that the manufacturers, what they put in this in engineering wise to control airflow through those components. I mean, there's things like interactive grill shutters up under the, in front of the grill. And, those shields are there to control airflow, to get the heat out of components, or hold heat in components, depending upon what they need. And so, is it going to long term? And what my explanation was to the guy with the engine cover, he said, "Hey, I don't have one, but I would like to." It was a Mustang owner. I'd like to have it on there because when I put it in shows and stuff like that, I just think it looks cleaner under the hood. And as I explained to him, in his particular situation, was like, well, you're not tracking the car, you're not, it's not like it's going to be, I know he doesn't drive the car extremely hard or anything like that. So from a heat perspective, I don't think in his particular driving situation, it was going to make a huge difference one way or the other. Now, again, you take that car and you put it on a track and you're just performing it, high performance all the time, then yeah, I think though that little bit is going to make a difference long term. So,
yep, I would love you to put that on there.
I've heard it both ways, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, I hear you. I would love you to go drive that thing, say 10 miles down a stretch of highway somewhere, and reset your fuel economy and check it, and then go put it on, and then drive that same 10 miles, the same directions, so the wind and everything affected, and see if it changes. I'd love to know. That's the only way to prove and test it. You know what I mean? Too, but I'm with Josh too. I didn't think about the other part of that, keeping the heat where it needs to be, keeping the air where it needs to be on all those different components. And, just like a deal, I was watching a deal the other day, and it talked about cars, 5 years ago till today, and how much they've changed and what's different about them. And people talk about, the mechanical side of the powertrains, the transmissions, and that kind of thing. And I still say everybody today, every manufacturer has a pretty darn good, reliable powertrain if you maintain it. I don't care whose it is, you got to maintain it. Of course, GM's going through a little problem right now with that 6.2. I get that part, but that's a rare case. It's not rare, but it's a whole big case. But anyway, it's not what's changed today. What's changed today is all the tech, all these we call them computers, but that's what they are. All the modules, all the things that's controlling everything on their car to keep our safety items and all that stuff in there into play. And we all know what happens to computers. They got to get rid of the heat, and that airflow's got to get across them and all that kind of stuff too. Your 22 trucks, so you've got electric steering. So there's a module in the front of that truck too that controls that electric steering. All that kind of stuff into play of keeping that heat out of those computers. But again, some of these systems need the heat too to perform correctly, like your oxygen sensors and
the operating temperature
of that sort of thing to make that work. But I would love to do that test to see what it does on fuel economy. See if it is a big change or not. And you're all right. I see those things hanging off of trucks driving down the road, dragging the road and everything else in that part too all the time. I don't think they did a good enough job of figuring out how to secure that panel underneath there, in my opinion.
Completely agree with that. Obviously, from the quick lane and the volume of business that we see down there, and on almost every one of these cars, you've got to lower or remove or adjust that panel to drain oil and all that stuff down there. And just the fasteners that they use or the retainers that they use, you can tell it wasn't manufactured or designed to withstand multiple uses in and out, and so we deal with that a lot on just seeing vehicles in with those drooping down or hanging down. And the other thing, people, they roll over a parking curb, so it folds it one way going over the parking curb, but then when you back up off the parking curb, then then it goes the other way and rips it off, and so hanging down. So I agree with that completely.
All right, buddy. Hope you can do it.
You bring up another question.
Yeah.
Now I got one more question. Now that you're talking about drivetrain and stuff, what about transmission flush? When should you have that done? And does it need to be done?
Definitely needs to be done, no doubt. There's a lot of theories out there and stuff too. And I'll go clear back to the days with my dad at the service station. We service transmissions back there probably every 10,000 miles, and we pull the pan. Pull that screen filter out of there, put a new filter in it, and clean the pan off with solvent, because there was always a varnish in there. There might be some material in there. Put a new gasket on it, put 4 or 5 quarts of oil back in it, and away we'd go. Well, guess what? We still had all these fluids still in that converter, the lines everywhere that we didn't get out of, because most transmissions back then hold 10 to 12 quarts, and we put 4 to 5 back in. So you kind of just diluted the good oil with some bad oil from that part. But again, those transmissions were 3-speed automatics, or 2 speeds even back then too. And so they ran about 60, 70, 80,000 miles, and they were junk anyway. So it didn't get that crucial. Well, today we're trying to push these cars to 200,000 to 300,000 miles. And that fluid in there is hydraulic fluid. And Josh has talked about this, and I've talked about it. Every time that transmission shifts now, whether it's under hard load or easy load, when it shifts, it builds heat. That heat then is that fluid to cool it down. But then when that fluid breaks down because of the heat, that's when it starts to turn a color. And that's when I say, is there a certain mileage interval exactly on every car? No, it's all everybody's driving habits are different when you need to do it, how you need to do it, and monitoring the color of that fluid. But I don't want to get my fluid completely dark before I want to change it, because that means my fluid's wore out. I've wore more particles in that transmission, and I've taken so much life out of that transmission. Now, where the bad situations, in my opinion, come from is someone will get an issue with the transmission, not shifting right or doing something from that part, and they think, we need to do a transmission flush. Yep. Wrong answer. You're too late to maintain it. You've now went too long on maintaining it, and now you're going to go try to put something in there and try to fix it. Well, people have had situations where they've waited too long and they go flush it, and it makes the problem worse. That does happen. But if you maintain it on a properly maintenance basis and do that flush, it's going to be so much more cheaper for you and maintain that transmission so much better. 30,000 miles used to be kind of the rule of thumb, 15, 20 years ago. But again, the way now we got, that was on 6-speed transmission. Now we got 10 speeds. And
that's what my truck has, is a 10-speed 3.5 Eco.
Yeah. And sometimes these 10 speeds, you can't even tell they're shifting. Because all the way to 10 gear, you can't feel it. That's how smooth they're shifting and everything else too. But you're still building that heat every time it shifts. Some people might need a transmission flush every 15,000.
Well,
some
again,
people might go on 50,000.
Goes back to how you're driving it and how much it's shifting. And
Josh and I every 5,000 miles.
Yeah. So then you go back again, go back to that multi-point and be like, okay, well, what's the needs based on fluid condition and driving and driving habits and things like that.
Yeah. So if you do it correctly and doing them on just like changing your oil, if you go too long and changing your oil, guess what? Now we got to get some cleaner in there and clean some stuff out, get it done, and everything else like that. And you've taken so much life out of that motor by not maintaining it. Same difference on your transmission, same difference on a power steering, but now you got electric, so you don't have to worry about power steering. Brake fluid's another one. I mean, years ago, we didn't care about brake fluid. We didn't worry about it. We topped it off when we needed to and everything else from that part. We did a brake job. We squeezed the piston back in, a little fluid squirt out. We put some more back in. But now today with electronic brakes, analog brakes, not electronic, analog brakes, guess what? That fluid is acceptable to condensation. It's acceptable to heat. So much more than what we used to be.
Yeah, brake fade is definitely a real thing for sure, based
100%.
on fluid condition. And, again, as a consumer that's in that vehicle day in and day out, like you just don't notice because the change is so minuscule and over a long period of time, it's just kind of normal, you become to expect it. But then when, you bring your car in or something like that, then bring your car in and somebody jumps in it that's not driving it every day, and here you go. So they notice a huge difference from there. So yeah, to answer your question, definitely transmission fluid around, typically what we see is around every 30,000 miles, again, just depending upon what you drive and driving habits. So and then hope we answered your question on that undershield. So, okay.
I appreciate the info, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for the call.
You bet. Thank you.
Have a good day. So yeah, going back to fuel economy and, all the different things, we talked about, left foot, right foot being one of the hugest impacts on there. And then Kelly actually called, and one of the other things that I was going to bring up was, obviously aerodynamics. And that's one of the things that was on my list to talk about today. So I'm glad he brought that up and discuss that as well. But the emphasis that the manufacturers have put on these vehicles, now compared to how they used to be years ago, in regards to aerodynamics and airflow through the things, with the interactive grille shutters and all these lower cowlings and stuff like that is huge. And I think that, again, does it play an impact on fuel economy? Yeah, I think it does. But also I think it's more around the lines of controlling heat in components and getting heat out of components more than airflow. I mean, we've got F-150s now that have a active air dam. So the air dam itself on the very front of the pickup will lower when the vehicle hits a certain speed going down the highway, and then it will retract back up for more in-town maneuvers. So if you were to park along a parking block, and I mean, it makes a huge difference. That air dam will stick down there probably about another inch and a half a distance on the front of them.
And those things are not cheap to fix.
Yeah, they're not.
I can't tell you how many we trade for cars that are ripped off or bent or whatever. And it's not a cheap date.
From a perspective,
those curb blocks become very expensive.
Yes. Yeah. From a perspective of, is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I mean, I think I understand the intent and why they're doing it, but from a real world perspective, like, I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze on what it takes to fix them or replace them. You know what I'm saying? Long term. But then again, now I go back to and again, don't want to get necessarily political about this, but you go back to the political side of it and the fuel economy and CAFE ratings that are put on these manufacturers. Like, they've got to do things like that in order to
meet the CAFE ratings. I think some of that's, I told you, I think some of that's going away. Now I hear more things back and forth. So who what's right, wrong, or different.
Well, and even if it does go away, okay, in 4 years, what now? What? And then 4 years. So I couldn't imagine being a manufacturer. It doesn't matter who the manufacturer is, but couldn't imagine being a manufacturer like that, producing, millions of vehicles and having so much money in research and development that is set out, to have a futuristic business plan.
Hey, look at the EV.
Well, yeah. To have
the billions of dollars that were spent.
Futuristic.
And what did we save?
A futuristic business plan that meets the demands of what restraints are going to be placed on you. And then, okay, well, now we change that. And it's just thinking about that stuff sometimes is just mind-boggling to me. And from a manufacturer standpoint, it's like, yeah, you take all the best educated guesses you can, but at the end of the day, you got lucky or you didn't get lucky,
Yeah.
almost.
I'm just glad we did enough to converting the store and things on EV to get by. We didn't go buy those big chargers they were trying to push us on to go get those big chargers in front of the store that I still didn't understand that either. People are not going to want to come to the dealership to charge their battery. They want to charge them at their house. That's part of them being up there in Detroit, not understanding the real retail market and what's happening there. But I know about you, but I drove that Lariat for a couple thousand miles and had really no issues whatsoever. But I charged it in my house and I charge it here at the store. But I just know that I don't want to come to the dealership to charge my battery every 4 or 5 days. I want to be able to charge at my house. But I think they wanted everybody to have that Ford had the great in all these charge stations around for everybody to go charge as you're traveling.
The network. Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't spend that big money because that was a lot of money to put that charger out front of the store, running the electrical, then the chargers and everything else.
From a having operated and driven these vehicles, like there's a lot about them that I could see that is desirable. This Mach-E, as far as like appearance wise and aesthetics and stuff like that car
needs an option over the hybrid.
Yeah, it
needs an option. I know that's coming in the truck with where they replaced the light and they're putting a motor in that truck. They need to do the same thing in a Mach-E.
And then I will say, as far as like performance goes, it is just, it is mind blowing how that car performs. The instantaneous torque that you have available to you and stuff like that. So I do believe that there's a niche for it, right? But it's not a hey, everybody has to have this blanket. You can't do that.
Yep.
With the current technology that's available out there today, or fueling options, refueling options, things like that. So
you got a great question come across, not to change the subject, whatever, but Randy asked, do your brake lights come on when adaptive cruise slows down? Yes, it does.
Yeah. Well,
I had to test that way back. That's always happened.
So it does. So if the car is actually, because there's different modes of that. So if it's actually stopping the car or braking the car, then yeah, they're on. But if it's just decelling, so kind of coasting, then.
But if you come up behind a car and you're slowing down, say you're doing 70, a car in front of you doing 60, and you come up behind that car, yes, the brake lights are going to come on as you slow down, but it's not as you, I don't know how you describe that, but as you slow down,
as you're just kind of coasting.
Yeah, they're not on from that part. But if you do have to come to like you were going to brake in front of somebody, to brake, to stop, to slow down in front of somebody, yes, they will come on and do that. Now, if you've ever want to do the test that I've done, and I've done it I shouldn't say many times, several times, I've always checked them and you'll get driving and you don't pay attention, and so it'll jerk you thinking you're asleep when I'm not asleep, but I'm just jacking with the system to see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you don't pay attention again, it does it again. But then if you still don't pay attention to it, it actually will slow down, turn the flashers on, and stop you in the road. And it does do it. Not very, to me, I would think it, but it's coming with the technology to pull over to the side. Now, the new adaptive cruise, have you checked it out in Explorer yet?
So I have not in the Explorer.
Okay, so the Explorer, I don't know what else has it, because that's all I've drove so far, but it does automatic lane change for you. So if you come up behind somebody and it's open in the left lane, it'll take you over in the left lane, and then when it's time to come back in, it moves you back over. You don't even control it; it just does it.
Yeah,
I thought Lisa told me it was doing it. I thought, she stuff, but anyway, yeah, it does do it. I got in that Explorer, took off, and I'm going down Kellogg, and I'll say, whoa. I didn't do that, did I? Did I hit the turn signal? No. The next thing, I kept going, and the lane was clear back into the right, and it moved me back over the right lane.
Yeah, I knew you told me that at once upon a time, and I meant to go grab an Explorer and go give it a try, just again, just to experience it. But it's not going to be long. It's not.
There's a lot of stuff coming. I know that too, with technology and stuff too. It comes faster than we want it to come. That's for sure.
Yeah. Going back to this fuel economy thing. So years ago, I think, when you talk about fuel economy and stuff like that. So years ago, I think tune-ups were obviously a much bigger thing, or replacing spark plugs. And I mean, there's still a need for that now, but it's just something that you don't as a
Man,
consumer.
way back when, it's every 10,000 miles,
Yeah.
you put spark plugs, points, condenser, you know?
Yeah, a lot think about points and condensers and stuff like that. The other day, I was somewhere and then somebody was messing with a capacitor, and I don't even think of one of the persons in the group even knew what it was. And I can remember in auto class probably having too much fun with them things, but
Well, we didn't do that. I didn't do none of that kind of stuff, Josh. I was well behaved in my stuff like that. But I still remember the first time my dad threw him a charged condenser, threw it at me.
yeah.
Zap you real hard. He thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Now, my dad could sit there, I could pull a spark
Just
plug
grab a spark plug.
and just hang on that thing, not even buzz him, whatever. Or he'd grab me, so it went into me and said, oh, God, how he did that. It drove me nuts.
Okay, so the other day, and I don't know, this may question my parenting ability a little bit, but so we're servicing mowers. My oldest son mows multiple lawns and got a couple of mowers that he uses. And anyways, and I was like, we were going through servicing them, and I was like, got air filter and spark plugs and all that stuff and changing everything out. And I was like, you know how to tell if that works, right?
Well, you got to learn that's a good learning experience, Josh.
And he says no. And I was like, well, here. And so I set him up to hold it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pull this and you're going to tell if it works or not.
That's called good parenting.
Okay. What I will say is I felt bad about it for about no seconds. But his younger brother was out there too. And
I bet he got charged.
He did. But
did he want to try it too?
That's 100%. So it's like, so then they both, it's gonna shock you. Like it's gonna shock you. But we had to do it multiple times. Everybody had to take their turn to get shocked. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I think that relinquishes my inability of parenting at that point when they're standing in line to get shocked over and over again.
I hate it. From that part. Yeah, I had a story where a guy that used to work for me there in Hutch, and he's now out. He's working at another shop out in Colorado. He moved out to Colorado and stuff. But he told a story about how when he was working for me in Hutch, and my dad always loved to come to the shops and hang out and whatever. Every now and then. He said he walked in and was talking to Paul, and my dad he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm trying to get this thing to go." And he said, "Hell, your dad just reached down and put a spark plug. Crank that thing over." He said, "Yeah, it's got fire." Oh yeah,
spark is good.
Now I don't think today.
I would agree with that
on these cars
too.
we had today, because back then that was about a 10,000 volt kind of a deal. Now we're at what 70, 80,000 volts coming at you. Now, granted, the amps aren't there like we're going to hurt you, not kill you or anything else like that part. But holy,
it's still gonna.
Woo!
So yeah, I thought I was questioning my parenting ability, and then by the time we did it 3 or 4 different times after that,
shame on you, Josh.
Yeah, that was
shame on you. I've never done anything like that at all.
So, anyway, spark plugs. Yeah, is where we're headed with that. That's obviously one of the things. But then outside of that, where I was headed next is, the lower tension rings that they have in these vehicles and the BG compression restoration service that's offered out there for them. And well, it's, we talk about different things and, your kids do that drive you crazy and stuff like that. When Jake bought this, I think, what is that thing, a 95? Okay. Yep. 92 to 95.
Somewhere in there. He did it just to drive, so he'd have to drive his other trucks and Mustangs into work and stuff. This morning I pull in and he's in that thing. And it's got dual exhaust on it. And I mean, it is smoking like a mother out there. And I start laughing. Said, "Looks like you need a ring job." And he starts laughing. I said, "Or maybe you need some more BG products in that thing."
I'm not sure on that year.
Why in the world he bought that thing, I got no idea.
I mean, if you're just running around town, like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but anyway, that thing was smoking. It's one bank too, not both banks.
Just
the old
just
left bank.
One side of it.
One side of it. I should have. I had more time to ask you. I said, "What were you doing on the way to work in it this morning?"
Well, and then
it might have been wide open or something happened there too.
Had it on the pipe a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
anyway. So
case.
Got in the ditch again there, John.
Yeah, that's okay. Where I was headed with that was the low tension rings, on these newer engines.
That's how we got on that. Yeah. Okay. Now I got it.
Was where we were headed there with the GDI service. And again, as a consumer, I don't think people understand that the power robbing that happens in losing that compression slowly over time. As a consumer, you're driving that car day in and day out, and it just becomes maybe weaker and weaker on compression. And then BG has this GDI service that goes in, and it's essentially like a chemical that goes in before you change the oil and helps loosen up the varnish on those rings and freeze them up, and is able to seal off that compression and restore the compression on the vehicle. And I would say, as far as things you would do today to tune up a car for better fuel economy versus things that you would do 15 years ago, like BG is where it's at. You're going to find the most improvement in the services they have with the GDI service or the induction service or the 44K that goes in a fuel tank. That's what's going to make the difference today. Years ago, it'd be plugs, it'd be points condenser, it'd
timing,
going to, I think, adjusting valves,
overhaul
years
carburetors.
ago. Yeah, carburetors from that side of it. And
so I wish I had $1 for every carburetor overhauled. Jesus. No, it's not. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Because we let that. Let's go back to that for a minute. How terrible our fuel was back then. That would happen. All that stuff in at the bottom of the plug up the carburetors, all that kind of stuff, and everything we'd go through. I remember pulling carburetors apart with all the junk down at the bottom of them and everything from that part too.
Well, on that, I mean, I still think there's a degree of poor quality of fuel today. It's just now it's in your injectors. You know what I'm saying? Now it's in the fuel systems of these vehicles. And again, using products such as BG to be able to do that is what's going to help increase that fuel economy. And then I think too I think it makes a difference on where you get your fuel, and it needs to be a fresh station that uses
back to my restaurant deal,
uses a lot of fuel. And then again, I would say too that you pull up to a fuel station anymore, and there's freaking so many different fuel options out there that
I know.
It's crazy. And as a consumer, like,
don't buy just what's the cheapest. Buy what your fuel cap says.
So then now you get into the ethanol side of things, and you save a little bit here on the what you pay per gallon, but then you're going to burn more of it.
Yeah.
And then what's that doing to the internal workings of the engine and stuff like that? And I mean, I'm all for ethanol, and I think there's an advantage to the fuel, but also it's not as you're going to go further on, 87 that's regular unleaded than you are stuff that's mixed with ethanol. Like, it's just, that's how it's going to work, and the vehicle's going to operate different. And then the other side of it is not every vehicle is made to run on that too, so you got to be careful what you do there.
No, that's exactly right. You got to pay attention what's on your fuel cap. Don't put more in it than what you need. Put exactly what your fuel cap says it needs. That's what the car was designed for. If it needs 87 octane fuel in it, put 87 octane fuel in it. If it's an E85, go ahead. It's designed to do it and run it that way. But if your car says it needs 91, you need to put 91 in it. That's what it's designed to run for and why it's there from that part. And if you do just the opposite on both of those, you're taking a lot of power, fuel economy, or you're carboning up your motor more than you need to be carboning up because you're putting the wrong fuel in.
Yep.
So I could spend a whole hour on just fuel.
Just fuel itself.
Fuel alone and everything else. Hey, we ain't got no calls today, Josh. I guess you just love hearing us talk. I think that's all it is from that part too. But anyway, anything else happened in the shop this week or anything?
You need to get going here, or what do you? Okay, let's make it happen.
So anyway, everybody, it's been a great show. It's a little short today, 39 minutes, almost 40 minutes. How about that? Bet you didn't want to call us, so Josh says cut it off.
Gotta go.
No, anyway, been a great show, everybody. Love every Saturday morning talking to you and finding out what's happening, what's going on out here in the old world of cars and stuff. But it's always a changing game, and it's always a different day. And Love the automobile business very much and what we do with it and everything else to help everybody get up and down the road from that part too. So everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. If you called in more, we'd stay on longer, but hey, no one would call. I know you don't want to talk to us. I get it. Hey, no, anyway, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. We'll be back. Wednesday, 5:30, another Salt City Racing update. Stay tuned for that. And also we'll be back next Saturday at 9 o'clock to answer more of your questions and maybe get some phone calls.
There we go.
Everybody have a great Saturday. Talk to you soon.